Thanks to our friend who supported the channel financially in the previous video. And before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and support the channel financially. But suddenly Olive raised her hand to object and said, "Rather than that, how about doing this? Not the first human to die, but the angel in charge of the last human standing wins. To spice things up, the winning angel gets to take on the role of a king." The others echoed in curiosity. "A king?" Olive explained. "Exactly. The other angels must obey the king's commands. For example, if the king selects someone as the guide, they must be followed without question. It will be the king's order." The idea sparked excitement among the angels, and one angel exclaimed, "Oh, this sounds even more fun." Then all angel praised, all except Priscilla, who couldn't help feeling a bit miffed. But her irritation was short-lived as she couldn't resist a playful smile. "Hey, proposing that the winning side becomes the king. You must be pretty confident," Olive replied with a hint of cheekiness. "Yes, I am," Priscilla said with an expression of challenge. "You're taking our area representatives a bit lightly, aren't you? They won't be pushovers. Mine maintained his top rankings across all rounds." Olive couldn't help but smirk internally, finding Priscilla's confidence amusing, and said, "Oh, really? You think you're all high and mighty? Don't be so quick to laugh it off. If you knew who my area representative is, you'd be astonished." At this time, Priscilla didn't know that Olive's area representative was an unstoppable force, dominating all the areas. Then Olive questioned, trying to hide her amusement. "So, are you up for it or not?" Priscilla replied confidently. "Well, I see no reason not to," and the rest of the angels also agreed. Then Olive flew back to where the players were. Her wings caught everyone's attention, and she called for the beginning of the extra game to choose the unified representative. And she said, "All right, everyone, gather under my command, all area representatives," and with a signal, the ground shook, and a circular hill-like arena emerged. Olive continued, saying, "From now on, we'll have a death match where you kill or be killed until only one remains. I must warn you, though, if you die outside the arena, there will be no resurrection for you, so stay within the bounds. Let the game begin." Despite the tense atmosphere, none of the participants moved. They waited, eyeing each other cautiously, assessing the competition. Engaging with an area representative was no small feat, and they wanted to see who would take the first step. And in the midst of this, Priscilla's representative, also known as Psycho Chopper, couldn't help but wear a confident smile. He had maintained his position as the top-ranked player in his area without fail. Then he said to himself with confidence, "I'm unbeatable when it comes to dismantling things, be it humans, animals, or monsters." His confidence stemmed from the dismantling rune, a cunning yet powerful rune she possessed. As in, the moment he pierces his opponent's body with his blade, he can flawlessly dismantle them. There's no other deceitful rune like this. He had already demonstrated its potency by killing 312 players in the 4th round, even proving its effectiveness in PK. At this time, everyone seemed cautious, reluctant to make the first move. They were eyeing each other, aware that acting rashly might make them the primary target. Then the impatient angels shouted from above, their voices akin to excited gamblers watching a dogfight. "Why are they just staring at each other? Why aren't you fighting? Come on, humans, fight already!" Then Psycho Chopper strode towards the center of the arena. With confidence, his mind set on securing a strong first impression to instill fear in his adversaries. And he said to himself, "To make them fear me, I'll unleash the full extent of my ruthlessness, leaving a lasting impression." He also said, "Whoever challenges me first will just be unlucky." And finally, a challenger emerged from the shadows. He declared, eyeing the player wielding a massive scythe, and said loudly, "Ah, there you are, my first sacrifice." As the distance closed, Psycho Chopper couldn't help but be astonished by the player's massive scythe. Then he became surprised and said to himself, "I've seen spears and swords, but a scythe, that's a rarity." And he mused in amazement. Scythe. Huh. I've come across usernames with scythe before, but encountering someone who wields an actual scythe is a first. Then Psycho Chopper's gaze instinctively shifted upward to check the player's nickname. The moment he read it, His heart stopped beating in shock, and he said in amazement, "A Black Scythe? Your nickname is Black Scythe? It's a familiar nickname because when the results are announced, it's the name that always ranked first in all districts." Then Psycho Chopper said to himself, "Could it be the same name? Oh no, nicknames can't be used by two people." And he continued saying, "So then, is that person really the Black Scythe that ranked first in the rankings, the level 30 player?" And he stood there without moving in a feeling of fear and dread. He did not know what to do in front of this monster. After that, one angel said, "Why is that human acting like that? Just moments ago, he seemed full of vigor, and now he's making such a stupid face." And the observing angels shook their heads, perplexed by the sudden change in the player, Psycho Chopper, who seemed dazed and lost. His expression appeared vacant, as if something was not quite right. Then one angel said, "Priscilla, isn't that your area's representative?" Priscilla wasn't in the mood to respond, clenching her teeth in frustration, and said to herself, "What on earth is that human doing? We've come this close, and he's just standing there." But suddenly laughter, irritating and mocking, echoed from the side. Then Priscilla shot a stern glare at the source of the annoying laughter, and it was Olive. Priscilla asked, and her voice tinged with frustration, "Olive, are you finding this situation amusing?" Olive replied, trying to suppress a giggle. "Sorry, but I can't help but find it funny," Priscilla inquired, perplexed by Olive's reaction. "What's so amusing?" Olive remarked with a mischievous glint in her eyes. "Just look at that human. Your area's representative seems as nervous as a willow in the wind in front of mine." Then Priscilla directed her gaze at the human wielding the impressive scythe. However, she couldn't sense the overwhelming aura that she had anticipated. Priscilla asked, raising an eyebrow, "So, you're saying my area's representative is scared of your representative?" Olive responded with a playful smirk. "Well, it certainly looks that way, doesn't it?" Priscilla said, defending her area's representative. "Don't be ridiculous, Olive. Do you think being the top ranked in my area is a joke? My representative has never missed the top spot since round 1. Olive challenged with a hint of skepticism and said, "In your area, is just being the top ranked in his area even a big deal?" Priscilla seemed puzzled and said, "I don't get you anymore?" "What do you mean?" Olive said with pride. "My representative has never missed the top spot in the whole region." Priscilla said skeptically and surprised, "In the whole region? Where did you come out with such a lie?" Olive pointed out, raising an eyebrow, saying, "Do you still not get it? For those angels who bother to check the rankings, isn't his nickname enough of a clue?" As Olive's words sank in, the other angels finally paid close attention to the human's nickname. Then one of the angels exclaimed, "What? Black Scythe? I've seen him. He's always at the top of the results screen." Even though angels didn't typically concern themselves with human rankings, they knew who held the coveted top spot. At this moment, Priscilla felt a tremor of uncertainty and said to herself, "Black Scythe is Olive's area representative," and her confidence faltered, because if that human was indeed the feared Black Scythe, then her representative wouldn't stand a chance. But suddenly everything changed in a flash. Psycho Chopper's head dropped to the ground, severed by the Black Scythe's swift strike. Then the angels turned to Priscilla, silently acknowledging her elimination, and one of them said, "Well, Priscilla is eliminated." At this moment, the shock left Priscilla speechless. She couldn't even muster anger at this unexpected and inevitable defeat. Then one player said, "Wait, isn't that Black Scythe? Why on earth is Black Scythe here?" The representatives, just realizing the identity of their opponent, couldn't help but shiver with fear. Though they had never encountered Black Scythe face to face, they knew 3 undeniable facts about this formidable player. Firstly, Black Scythe was renowned for never losing the top spot in any previous area. Secondly, they were a seasoned high-level player sitting confidently at level 30. And lastly, they don't stand a chance against him, no matter how hard they try. And the level difference was staggering, and it crushed their fighting spirit. Especially after witnessing Black Scythe's swift takedown of Psycho Chopper, their fear grew exponentially. They hadn't even glimpsed how it was executed. Then one player said, I I wouldn't stand a chance. I won't be able to react just like that person right now. I'd be toast, and how could I possibly defeat someone at level 30 when I'm only at level 13? With just reading the nickname, the representatives had already lost their will to fight. Then Ryu Min started to step by step towards the other players, and they were all terrified of him. And one player said to Ryu, "Oh, hello, Black Scythe Nim. It's an honor to meet you. Ha ha ha." Can you believe it? Sharing the same area as the renowned Black Scythe Nim, it's enough to bring tears of joy to my eyes. Despite the flattery, Ryu Min's intense crimson gaze remained unwavering. He didn't even break his stride. Then the player said, hold on a moment. Let's talk this out, shall we?" So Ryu put away the weapon again, and he decided to wait and see what he wanted. After that, the player said to angels, "Hey, angelic beings, I have no intention of fighting Black Scythe. I surrender. I surrender." Then in a flurry, all 8 representatives waved their hands, indicating their decision to surrender. The angels couldn't help but touch their foreheads in frustration, and one angel said, "What disgraceful behavior is this? Surrendering? Did they just surrender? They're ruining our carefully crafted game." The angels were fuming, feeling their patience wearing thin with the seemingly cowardly bunch they had sent into the arena, and said, "Warning, any human who surrenders will have their head blown off, and it's best not to count on resurrection once your head's been blown off by us." Faced with the angels' menacing threat, the representatives turned pale, collectively realizing the gravity of their decision, and the fear of losing the chance to resurrect was more chilling than the prospect of their heads being blown off. Reluctantly, the representatives drew their weapons once more. They weighed their options and concluded that dying at the hands of Black Scythe was a better fate than remaining dead, unable to come back to life, courtesy of the angels. Cornered and with no other escape, they had no choice but to face this perilous situation. And one of them said, "There are 8 of us. Maybe we stand a chance." Then they cautiously encircled Black Scythe, narrowing the distance step by step. Observing this, Ryu Min couldn't help but smirk and said, "Are the angels scarier than me?" Ryu Min was unafraid of the angels. To him, angels were no more than frail beings, hardly different from humans. And if others knew their true nature, they wouldn't find them as fearsome. Then Ryu said to himself, "Of course, I can't overlook their execution ability, as the angels' lethal power allowed them to obliterate a player's heads with a single glance, and Ryu Min was not exempt from this deadly threat. And if an angel decided to act on it, his journey would come to an abrupt end. But he was sure that they won't kill the top-ranked player in the entire area, as tearing up the ticket to success in a game designed to toy with humans would undoubtedly enrage the creators. Although Ryu Min knew he couldn't be killed, he refrained from openly challenging the angels. After all, there might be an angel who hasn't used their one-time use ability yet. And if such an angel took offense for any reason, it would spell disaster. Aware of this, Ryu Min couldn't afford to confront the angels right now, and until he obtained the title that would enable him to face the angels on equal ground, he had to endure whatever they threw his way. Then Ryu glanced around and spotted the representatives cautiously closing in, akin to hyenas on the prowl. Yet Ryu remained undeterred and said with a smug grin, "No matter how many ants there are, they're still just ants." The representatives became very angry, and one of them said, "Is this brat mocking us? He's acting all cool because of his high level, huh? But we're respected rankers in our own territories too." Then they attacked Ryu,